afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, Kamala Harris concedes the November 5th U.S. presidential race to Donald Trump, but she says her fight for the country is not over. The Philippine economy grows slower than expected in the third quarter. Typhoon Mar further intensifies as it approaches northeastern Cagayan. Several areas in Luzon now under Cignal number 4. And Australia seeks to ban those under the age of 16 from using social media. Thanks for joining us. After a brisk campaign that failed to stop Donald Trump's return to the White House, Kamala Harris concedes the election. In a speech at Howard University, the vice president and Democratic candidate said she has spoken to her rival and congratulated him on his victory. Harris also urged her supporters to accept her loss and focus on the future.
In our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States. And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together.
4 years after losing the 2020 polls, Trump recaptured the White House with a sweeping victory Wednesday, despite 2 presidential impeachments, a criminal conviction, and many other criminal charges. Aside from the presidency, Trump's Republican Party also won control of the Senate. Current Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell attributed their gains to dissatisfaction with the Biden administration.
If you're looking for a simple answer, I think it was a referendum on the current administration, in part. People were just not happy with this administration, and the Democratic nominee obviously was a part of it.
U.S. President Joe Biden has also called his former election rival to congratulate him on his victory. The White House says Biden also invited Trump to the White House and committed to ensure a smooth transition. Biden will address the nation on Thursday, U.S. time. Trump's campaign says the president-elect is looking forward to meeting Biden and very much appreciated his call. Other prominent names from the Democratic Party are also congratulating Donald Trump on his election victory. Among them, the Obamas, who actively campaigned for Kamala Harris. The two also offered comforting words to those who supported Harris, saying living in a democracy is about recognizing that their point of view will not always win. Bill and Hillary Clinton are also wishing Trump and his Vice President J.D. Vance well. They also called on Democrats to remember that America is bigger than the results of any election. Big tech leaders also sending well wishes to Donald Trump, even as the president-elect has a history of threats against some of them. Among them, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, whom Trump previously threatened to throw in prison. Other tech executives who expressed support include Apple's Tim Cook, Google and Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, and Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. They say they look forward to working with a new administration. President Bongbong Marcos also looking forward to working with President-elect Trump. Marcos says he is hopeful the unshakable alliance between the Philippines and the U.S. will be a force for good. The president shares he has personally met Trump as a young man, so he knows that his robust leadership will result in a better future. Senate President Cheese Escudero says he cannot foretell what Trump may or may not do, but he notes our relations with the U.S. were fairly well under Trump's previous presidency, so his assumption would bode well for the Philippines. We can expect no huge changes in U.S. trade policies with Donald Trump back in the White House, although it might affect Philippine exports. That's according to the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Speaking to BNC, PCCI Chairman George Barcelon says America's policies when it comes to trade has been consistent, but he also says they're on wait-and-see mode until there's a clearer indication regarding the direction of the Trump administration.
I think their policy with regard to trade, both administration has been very consistent. They have put sanctions on China, and with some of the pronouncement of President Trump, but that he might put sanctions also on countries that are friends of the U.S. So that may not bode too well for us on our exports.
News here at home now. The House Quad Committee is holding its 10th hearing on the bloody drug war and extrajudicial killings during the Duterte administration. Let's get updates from Zandro Ochona, who joins us now on the scene at the Batasang Pambansa. Zandro, who are attending today's hearing? What's the latest?
Among those present in today's hearing are former Senator Laila De Lima. This will be the second time she is attending. Also present is former Bangsamoro Party List Representative Bilyonaryo, who is one of the groups helping families of PJK victims. And just before the hearing started, the chairman of the four committees filed House Bill number 11043, authorizing the government to seize real estate unlawfully acquired by foreign nationals. It stemmed from the series of hearings held by the Quadcom on illegal Philippine offshore gaming operators for full growth. The proposed civil forfeiture aims to enforce the constitutional ban on foreign land ownership established in the 1935 Constitution. Targets individuals who circumvent constitutional restrictions using qualified documents, enabling the civil forfeiture of such properties.
Hakbang ito dahil marami po tayong na-discover na mga properties na na-acquire ng mga foreign nationals dito sa ating bansa na alam naman po natin na ito ay labag sa ating saligang batas. Kaya ito ay kinaklaro natin sa pamamagitan nitong House Bill na ito.
By just a few moments ago, there was a motion to issue a show cause order against Police Colonel Hector Grijaldo for failing to attend today's hearing. The motion was made by Vice Chairman Romeo Pop and was approved by the committee. Grijaldo, in his excuse letter, said that he was suffering from shoulder pains. Grijaldo, a few weeks ago, attended the Senate's investigation and bailed that the two of the short-term in the Quadcom coerced him into corroborating the alleged reward scheme under the Duterte war. Just like now, buying.
I have to cut you there until we have a better connection with you. Thank you for that report. We'll try to get Zandro Ochona back on the line in a little bit. President Bongbong Marcos has directed all concerned government agencies to be on high alert ahead of the possible devastating impact of Typhoon Mar. The storm was last spotted 115 kilometers east of Apari, Cagayan, packing winds of 175 kph and gusts of up to 215 kph. Weather Bureau Pag-asa says Marce has further intensified as it moves west-northwest. It is expected to make landfall and traverse Babuyan Islands, the northern portions of mainland Cagayan, Ilocos Norte, and Apayao from this afternoon until tomorrow morning. Signal number 4 is up over those areas. Several other Luzon provinces are also under wind signals. Here's a look. We're taking a quick break. Up ahead, the Philippine economy grows slower than expected. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. Stay with us. You're still watching Newsfeed at Noon. Senators are tackling a proposal to postpone the Bangsamoro parliamentary election. The proposal was submitted by no less than the Senate President, Cheese Escudero. Agatha Gregorio is monitoring developments in Pasay. She joins us now for an update. Agatha, what led to this proposal and how are local governments taking this? All right, we'll try to get Agatha Gregorio back there. She is reporting live from the PICC in Pasay. The Philippine economy grows slower than market expectations in the third quarter. The GDP expanded 5.2% from a year earlier, down from 6.4% in the second quarter. Economists had expected a growth rate of 5.7%. The latest data gives the central bank fresh hints to further cut interest rates. Governor Elira Malona has signaled that GDP figures will guide the policy easing path, with another 25 basis point reduction possible next month. The country's agricultural output plunges in the third quarter in its steepest decline in nearly 4 years. Production fell by 3.7%, much worse than the drop of 0.2% in the same period last year. In the first 9 months, output shrank by 2.2%, a reversal of the growth of 0.2% a year ago. The Agriculture Department attributes the lower farm production to adverse weather and impact of African swine fever. The Philippines also seeing its largest trade deficit in 20 months. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority show the trade gap in September stood at $5.1 billion, 43% higher than the $3.4 billion shortfall in the same month last year. The latest figure is also higher by 16% from the deficit recorded in August. This comes as exports declined while imports went up. The U.S. continued to be the top destination for exports, amounting to $1.1 billion, or 17% of the total share. Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel seeks a probe into a 50-year lease contract between the government-owned Center for International Trade Expositions and Mission, or CITEM, and the Philippine Exporters Confederation. Pimentel reveals CITEM has allowed PhilExport to lease 4.9 hectares of prime property in Pasay at a rate of 1,000 pesos per year. The senator describes the deal as grossly disadvantageous to the government. Pimentel adds the prime lot is not creating reasonable revenues, which should and could have been used for CITEM's operation. The lease contract was entered into in 1996 by then Trade Secretary Rizalino Navarro. The top Chinese car brand in the country expects even stronger sales before the year ends. Our mobility correspondent G. Baroga tells us MG Philippines' route to success.
MG Philippines is the 9th best-selling marque in the country, making it the top Chinese brand locally in terms of sales. Latest data from the Chamber of Automotive Manufacturers of the Philippines shows MG's year-to-date sales reached a total of 6,447 units as of September, representing nearly 2% of market share.
We hit 951, and we are still improving on monthly basis. From the beginning of this year until September, we have continuously on average 7% on month-to-month basis growth on every month. So this is really, we're improving a lot.
MG attributes its global success to its customer care, a focus that's also embraced by the local distributor.
In Philippines, also, we take the same logic and the attitude to take care of our customers, because it's also like when you see the products introduced in the market, it's really care about what the market needs.
MG currently offers 4 electric models and is installing charging stations nationwide to support the clean shift.
We will have more and more in-house or owned DC chargers nationwide, especially in the Metro Manila area, to helping the customers to experience more comfortable charging experience. And also all our dealerships will be installing the charging stations to make it more efficient.
MG Philippines expects even higher sales volume before the year ends and plans to introduce competitive products for Filipino drivers in the next couple of years. For BNC Mobility, G. Baroga.
We're taking another breather. Still to come, Australia seeking to ban those under the age of 16 from using social media. Find out why when Newsfeed at Noon returns. Stay with us. You're back on Newsfeed at Noon. As we mentioned earlier, senators are tackling a proposal to postpone the Bangsamoro parliamentary election. Agatha Gregorio joins us for an update now. Agatha, how are local governments taking this proposal?
Mai, we're getting mixed reactions from some of the governors here regarding the Senate bill seeking to move the 2025 parliamentary elections in BARM. Senate President Cheese Escudero, who filed the bill, wants this to happen in May 2026 instead of next year, following the Supreme Court's ruling excluding Sulu from BARM. But Maguindanao del Sur Governor Maria Mangudadatu voiced her opposition to this, saying the government's focus should not be on postponing the polls, but rather decommissioning the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, citing the deaths of numerous local officials and police due to the MILF. Mangudadatu also stressed the need to hold elections as the people of BARM have the right to choose their own leaders. Meanwhile, governors of Maguindanao del Norte and Tawi-Tawi showed support for resetting the polls. The Maguindanao del Norte governor said this would help ensure that citizens fully understand the rules as voters while reducing the risk of hasty preparation. He also emphasized how making sure that this election is a credible one is connected to the peace process in BARM. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Agatha Gregorio, reporting from the PICC. We also heard that Presidential Peace Advisor Carlito Galvez is at the hearing and he is fully supporting the possible resetting of the elections, saying that Cebu, as the central hub of revolution of Bangsamoro, deserves a proper transition plan. The U.S. military releases a video of what is said to be a test launch of an unarmed intercontinental ballistic missile. The Minuteman III launch was conducted on election night in the U.S. from the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. The nuclear-capable missile is considered a key component of the U.S. military's strategic arsenal. Australia seeking to ban those under the age of 16 from using social media. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the proposed law will be the first in the world and there will be no exemptions for users who have parental consent. The measure is considered the most stringent yet when it comes to curbing social media use of children. It will be up for parliamentary debates in the coming weeks.
And this one's for the mums and dads. Social media is doing harm to our kids, and I'm calling time on it. I've spoken to thousands of parents, grandparents, aunties and uncles. They, like me, are worried sick about the safety of our kids online. And I want Australian parents and families to know that the government has your back.
And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.